Hello everyone! So welcome back to Sarah's Book Break. We are going to talk about screen-free activities because today, April 30th, is the start of Screen-Free Week. The challenge is to unplug and try to spend less time in front of screens for entertainment and do things outside of technology. So here's what you can do to help survive Screen-Free Week. First of all, get those screens out of sight. Put the phones, the tablets, the iPads, whatever it is, away. Hide them so you're not getting that constant reminder that when they see it, they want to play with it. But if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. The next one is to provide screen-free alternatives. So provide things for them that will fill that boredom when they're trying to adjust to going without screens all day. And that can be putting out some new books, going to the library and getting books. Or it could be just rotating some toys that they haven't seen in a while. Or get a cookbook out and some ingredients and then cook with them so they aren't bored and they have something to do instead. Next one is make it a team effort. Now, if you tell your kids that they have to go without screens and then you're going around with your phone all day checking Facebook or whatever it is, then they're going to learn from your example and they're not going to be as committed to following the challenge. So make it a team effort. Decide what you want to do as a family and then stick to it the best you can, and maybe have a positive reward at the end for working together to do that. And then finally, don't give up. That's my final tip, because I know as a parent, with little ones especially, that sometimes you have to get things done, and set them in front of a video or a movie is the easiest way to get things done without them destroying the house or getting into trouble. So try to be creative, and if things don't always work out, don't give up. Just try again and keep working towards that goal. And build on it, do a little at a time. If you're not at the goal you want now, work so you can reach that goal later. But in addition to that, I wanted to share some activities that you guys can try with your kids this week. The first one I'm sharing is our Usborne outdoor book, and I think this is a perfect one to talk about today because hopefully you're enjoying nice spring weather like we are. It's the perfect time to be outdoors and enjoying the sunshine. So the first activity that you can try with your kids is to make a bird feeder. So this book suggests that you recycle a toilet paper tube and roll it in some peanut butter and then roll it in some seeds. Then you can stick it on a branch of a tree, or you can tie string through the middle of the toilet paper tube and hang it from a tree. Another suggestion, now this is something unique I didn't know you could do. This one is about finding directions and not getting lost. But other fun thing that I thought would be kind of a nice science experiment with your kids also is to figure out which direction is north using the sun as your direction. So it tells you to push a stick into the ground and then put a rock at the end of the shadow that the stick makes. Then wait 20 minutes and put another rock at the end of the stick shadow and stand between those two rocks, and wherever you're facing will be north. And the final thing, this page talks about some games that you can do outdoors. So great option instead of screens to use. And the suggestion that I'm going to recommend is having a scavenger hunt. Now you can create your own nature scavenger hunt and write down things that you want your kids to find. And then you can go on a walk. You can go when you're camping. You can do this anywhere outside, even in your backyard. They have their little paper and they can check off the items as they go. The next one I wanted to share is 365 science activities. So this one is focused on learning about yeast and how it works. Mix 2 teaspoons of dried yeast with 8.5 ounces of warm water and add a teaspoon of sugar. And then the kids can stir it and wait for a little while and see what happens, and they can make observations. But what I like is that is the beginning of the curiosity with the yeast. But then the book extends it with different activities that you can do to learn even more and ask more questions, like adding flour to see what happens to the yeast and sugar. And at the very end, there is even how to make bread using your initial ingredients from your first experiment. So that is something you can try, and then go ahead and make bread with your kids. Okay, the next one that I found to share with you is from the section about surface tension. So there are lots of different things that I suggest you can put on water and then put paper on top of it and take it off and see the cool designs that you get from that. And there's different substances like nail polish or chalk or oil added to the water and chalk. So you can make some really fun designs. And the activity I want to recommend is making shaving foam printing. So what you do is you get a pan and cover it with a layer of shaving cream, spread it so it's flat, and then you can add dye or food coloring to it, and then swirl it around with a stick or a knife, a butter knife, and make your own cool design. Mix up the colors, and then you get your paper, your card stock. If you want to make a card with it, this is a fun way to do that. And you lay it down on the paper so that the ink gets on the card, and then you pick it up and you can scrape off the shaving cream, and it has a really cool design on the paper. So this would be a fun activity. There is Mother's Day coming up, and Teacher Appreciation Week is also coming up in May. So that would be a fun thing to do with your kids, and they could make a card to give to someone special like that. So this activity that I wanted to suggest, this page focuses on ice and how it melts, and it's really fun because you do some experiments with salt and to see how it changes the rate that ice melts. So this one, the activity I wanted to suggest, is kind of like a magic trick for kids. It says to place an ice cube on a plate and dip a piece of string in water and lay one end on top of the ice cube. Sprinkle half a teaspoon of salt over the ice cube and count to 20. Then lift up the string. What happens? So I want to know if you guys try this, tell me what happens. It tells me what's going to happen below in the little explanation, but I want to see if it works for you guys and what your kids think of it with this magic trick they try out. And finally, this is one of our newest books. It's called Never Get Bored book, and this is probably one of my new favorites. It has so much in it. This one has a lot more that are just unique things that you wouldn't typically think of. For example, you can make shadow puppets with the light. You can make to learn how to tie knots and learn how to juggle. And there's brain puzzles and riddles to solve. It just has such a variety. So the ones I wanted to share, this is games that you can play with pebbles. So of course you might be familiar with hopscotch, but this one is a new one that I haven't ever played. But you set up rocks or pebbles. I guess you could use any item you want, or you could even do it on paper. And you have 7 pebbles on the bottom, and then 5 pebbles above that, 3 pebbles above that, and 1 pebble on the top. And how you play is you remove pebbles from one row. You can only take from one row, and you don't have to take all of them, but you can't take from 2 different rows. And then the next person will take some pebbles from a row. They can choose any row they want, but they can only stick to that one row when they're removing pebbles. And you keep going back and forth until the winner is the person who forces the loser to pick up the last pebble. So it's kind of a fun game. It's called NIM, and again, you can do that on a piece of paper, or you can get some small objects, pebbles, whatever you have, coins even would work. Great thing to try outside if it's warm enough weather, or if you're stuck inside with rainy days, you could also do it with different objects. So this one is to make a dance party, have a dance off. And so the suggestion they have is to make a dance sequence in a group, then see who can bust the most moves in the right order. So the first person makes up a dance move, and then the next person copies the first dance move and adds a new one. Everyone takes turns performing the dance moves and adding another each time. And then you're out if you forget a dance move in the sequence. The last person still dancing wins the game. So what you do is You can do this with 2 or more people. They start off by drawing the head of any creature, any person, anything that they want at the top of a piece of paper. Then you fold it down like you can see here. Now draw the body, making sure it's attached to the neck. Stop just above the legs. And so they've drawn the body. And this is after you've passed it to the next person. So the first person's going to draw the head. They're going to fold it down so just the neck is showing. And then they're going to pass it to the next person, and that person's going to draw the body. Then they'll fold that down, and the third person, or the first person again, will draw the bottom of the creature, the feet, if there are feet, but this one has fins on it. And then, of course, you can open it up and see what silly creatures you've created. So I hope these ideas give you a good start to the week and help you have a more sane, screen-free week with your family and your kids and enjoy being together. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.